Now, breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
Breaking news this noon, the Supreme Court hands down several decisions. One blocks a bankruptcy deal for the makers of OxyContin. Ken Smith is in the WRAL Live Center with that and other rulings.
And just today, we learned over half of our state is in a drought, but we do have some rain finally on the radar. I'll let you know who should see it next coming up.
Also, the adoptive mother charged with the deaths.
This morning, NBC News got a behind-the-scenes look at the Boeing MAX Airlines assembly line as the company addresses safety concerns ahead of the summer travel season. NBC's Tom Costello was there.
This morning, Boeing's problems stemming from that MAX 9 door plug blowout have grown more serious. In a rare move, the NTSB is sanctioning Boeing after its executives provided reporters with an update on how the fuselage for that Alaska Airlines plane made its way through the assembly line with the door plug not properly bolted in.
We believe that plug was opened without the correct paperwork.
The NTSB does not allow parties to an investigation to go public with information until that investigation is complete. Boeing remains under NTSB, FAA, and FBI investigation. The focus very much the 737 MAX assembly line near Seattle, where Boeing's reputation is on the line. The two MAX planes that crashed more than 5 years ago came off this line. So did the MAX 9 that suffered that door plug blowout in January. Ever since, FAA inspectors have been on the floor. America's aviation giant has admitted to a breakdown in quality and safety control. Now an all-out blitz to turn things around starting here. Tracking every job, every tool, every procedure. Why has it taken you so long to develop a top-to-bottom approach to quality and safety management that one would think this company should have already had in place decades ago?
We have a strong foundation of caring deeply about safety. What I also know is, though, we have to continually improve. And this is a chance for us to do it.
Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris is getting a modern makeover for its reopening on December 8th. The 860-year-old cathedral was ravaged by fire in 2019. A top fashion designer who has worked with global superstars like Beyonce and Lady Gaga not only created designer furniture, but also designed new outfits for the priests. Entry will still be free, but visitors will be able to reserve a time slot online ahead of their visit. People can enter without reservations, but they may have to wait in line. And talk about a ride of your life. Some thrill seekers probably didn't have this in mind when they boarded California's oldest roller coaster. This is video of a group of people being led down the Giant Dipper's wooden structure. The ride was stopped at the top of the lift hill after a guest experienced a medical emergency inside the loading station. Everyone made it to the ground safely, and the rider experiencing a medical emergency was taken to the hospital. No word on their condition.
Minnesota's Rapidan Dam is at risk of total failure due to severe flooding. According to authorities, the dam near Mankato, Minnesota, faces an imminent threat of collapse. The river swelled after an onslaught of rain pummeled the Midwest for days. As of Wednesday, that 104-year-old dam was still intact. There were no mass evacuations. The dam begins in Iowa and runs outside Mankato, Minnesota, about 85 miles southwest of Minneapolis. A lot of water there. A soccer park and nearby golf course in Illinois are closed now until further notice. Here's why. It's good reason. Surveillance video showed the moment a sinkhole opened up, swallowing the park. Wow, part of the field is gone right there. Officials say that hole is approximately 100 feet wide and 30 feet deep. It's located in an area where players would sit on the bench during games. The sinkhole was reportedly the result of an underground mine in the area. Fortunately, no one was there on the field at the time.
I was going to say, that's the good news there, that nobody was there. Wow, that is shocking. All right, let's get over to meteorologist Kat Campbell. We have to talk about this heat advisory that we have and the potential to see some rain today, Kat.
And we're all hoping for a little bit of rain today. Chapel Hill actually seeing some light rain moving in right now. You can see it if you look really closely there at Top of the Hill restaurant, the camera. But we've got that rain headed for Durham storm as well. Keep in mind, this is pretty light rain. It's better than no rain, but it's nothing significant that we're going to see out there today. The best chance of some heavy rain would likely be confined closer to Wayne County, Sampson County, Cumberland County, and Hoke counties later this afternoon. And I think we'll be done with our rain chances here in the Triangle by about 3 or 4 o'clock, but we'll keep in a chance of a storm through 6, 7 o'clock in our southeastern counties today. 84 degrees right now. The clouds are certainly helping with the heat around the Triangle. The heat advisory was dropped for Wake County earlier today due to the cloud cover, but we still have a heat advisory in our eastern counties. The drought conditions are worsening, and we expected this. The new drought monitor came out today. Last week, 0% moderate drought coverage. This week, it is 52%. So we jumped up to over half the state now being in moderate drought, and that includes the Triangle as well as Fayetteville and all of eastern North Carolina, really most of our viewing area. The good news that I have for you is we have some rain in the forecast. The bad news I have for you is that it is not enough to alleviate our issues. We're looking at about ½ an inch to an inch of rain over the next 5 days. That number's gone up, which is good. I think the bulk of this rain would actually end up coming on Sunday. For tomorrow, it's only a 30% chance of a storm. Saturday, that chance is 50%. And on Sunday, the chance is 60%. It's still going to be hot through the weekend. Get some ice cream. High temperatures will be in the low to mid 90s each afternoon. Tomorrow, let's take a look at how things could play out on Futurecast. As we get to lunchtime, about a 20% chance of our first signs of a shower or storm popping up on the radar. And then we've just got some hit or miss thunderstorms throughout the afternoon hours and into the evening. Keep in mind, these are summer storms. Did you notice they're just tiny little dots there on Futurecast? That's what they would be here. So we're just not looking at this big area of rain that lasts all day that would really help us out, unfortunately. Saturday, I think will be dry to start. Saturday, we may have some clouds that stick around during the first half of the day. I actually think we'll be partly to mostly cloudy Saturday. And then during the afternoon, we see a couple of storms start to pop up. Again, this is not going to be a soaking rain for us. It's more of your typical summertime thunderstorms that we would see during the afternoon. But it's nice to have those storm chances back at least. 91 for the high today. We're at 93 tomorrow. We continue to warm up into the mid 90s this weekend. The best chance of rain and storms will come with a cold front on Sunday. That front could linger in our southern counties on Monday. That's why we still have a small chance for rain. And then as we get toward the middle of next week, we dry back out, and it looks like we're going to heat back up. Starting today at 4 o'clock on WRAL News, we're going to have your first look at your 4th of July forecast. An early preview, it looks hot.
Right. Thanks, Kat. That's what we expected,
Yeah,
right?
right.
All right. Coming up, drones are being used to make decisions about your homeowner's insurance.
It's just something new technology, and it surprises a lot of homeowners.
Tonight at 6, how this new technology is being used to determine whether your home is fit to insure.
And today at 4, as WRL's investigation continues into the murders of 2 Fayetteville kids, we reached out to officials about how to spot signs of child abuse. Monica Casey explains what you can do to help protect kids in your neighborhood. Plus, still ahead this noon, Walgreens is on the ropes. How many locations across the nation could be closed as the big box pharmacy deals with changing consumer buying trends?
And 2 sisters are hard at work at their sewing operation in their basement of their home, but the gowns they create won't be featured on the runway. They're serving an even greater purpose. That's coming up in our next half hour.
Happening now in the WRAL Live Center, more breaking news from our NC Capitol team as we take a live look at the legislative building this noon hour. The House passing a constitutional amendment to remove the literacy test from the Constitution. By a unanimous vote, the State House approved an amendment that would remove the literacy test requirement for voting. The test was added during the Jim Crow era to make it more difficult for blacks and indigenous citizens to vote. It was outlawed by the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Now, state lawmakers put a similar amendment back on the ballot in 1970, but it was not approved back then. It goes to the state Senate today. If it's approved by the state Senate, it will be back on the ballot in November.
Walgreens is planning sweeping store closures across the nation as consumer buying habits are impacted by inflation. It's already announced a plan to close 150 U.S. stores last summer, citing reduced revenues from prescription drugs and other items. Its chief rival, CVS, has also been under pressure over the past 2 years. Walgreens CEO did not give an exact number or location of the closures, but implied it could be as much as 25% of the chain's approximately 8,600 stores.
Paychecks quickly get used up on gas, groceries, and insurance, but there's one more expense that consumers are squeezing onto their checklists: cosmetics. The lipstick effect is when people still spend toward luxury items, and while the bigger items are being bought less, nice perfumes and makeup still tops the charts. Online transactions for lipsticks rose by 37% between January and May, while online sales for fragrance rose by 19.4% during the same time period.
Next up this noon, Goldsboro police are investigating a deadly shooting. And coming up, the evidence officers hope will lead them to a killer.
And Simone Biles and other elite athletes helped highlight the importance of mental health at the Olympic Games. Coming up, the services the IOC will provide for athletes and their families. And as we head to break, here are your winning lottery numbers. Good luck.
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
A woman is dead after a shooting in Goldsboro. WRAL's Nick Perlin spent the morning on Hollowell Street, where police were investigating.
Goldsboro police were busy early this morning investigating a shooting on this stretch of Hollowell Street that left one woman dead. Now take a look at this video from the WRAL breaking news tracker, and you can see Goldsboro police taping off the 300 block of Hollowell Street early this morning. We're told the shooting happened at around 2:30. Now, police were also investigating this gray car, and as you can see right here, there's a bullet hole in the back windshield. Like I said, this shooting did happen at around 2:30 early this morning, and one woman sadly died here on the scene. We're still trying to learn from Goldsboro police if they know who fired that gun. Once we have more information, we'll be sure to update you. In Goldsboro, Nick Perlin, WRAL News.
We're following some breaking news here in the WRAL Live Center. Let's get right to this live camera from our traffic cameras of I-440 and Lake Boone Trail. You can see a crash shutting down at least one lane there in these westbound lanes near Lake Boone Trail, causing a significant backup right there on this northern section of the Beltline. As we have been looking at this camera for the last 10 minutes or so, we see that it involves at least two vehicles, if not more. First responders are there on the scene. Tow trucks have just shown up as well. But again, this is causing significant backups on the Beltline. An alternate route might be to stay local and just take Capitol Boulevard if you need to get downtown or all points west. But again, this is happening on I-440 at Lake Boone Trail. Keep that in mind if you're getting ready to head out in the near future.
Also, Ken, another scene you reported on this morning is double tractor trailer crash shut down all lanes of I-95 south near Fayetteville this morning. Sky 5 showed traffic at a complete standstill there. Big mess. The lanes were shut down for hours. They have since reopened now, and we're reaching out to learn whether anyone was hurt out of this.
The stage is set for a rematch between President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump. It's their first face-off in 4 years. President Biden has been at Camp David huddling with advisors and holding mock debates. And former President Trump has been at Mar-a-Lago doing more informal prep. He is expected to focus on the economy and the border during the 90-minute debate. And Biden will likely zero in on abortion rights and threats to democracy. And CNN is the host of this debate. It's happening at their studios in Atlanta. You could watch it live on WRAL. That's starting at 9 o'clock tonight.
And today, city leaders in Fayetteville will talk about how to address school resource officers in public schools. Last month, the Cumberland County Sheriff's Office announced it would no longer provide SROs to several schools in the district. Tonight, Fayetteville City Council will talk about the next steps it needs to take to make sure schools have SROs. Their meeting will get started at 2 o'clock this afternoon. In less than 2 hours, Wake County and Garner leaders will cut the ribbon on a new public safety station. The event at the Caddy Road Public Safety Station happens at 2 o'clock today. The new facility will house Garner Police, Fire and Rescue, and Wake County EMS. It includes living quarters, a new gym, and gear decontamination rooms. The new location will help responders serve the rapidly growing population there.
Excitement is building for the Summer Olympics in Paris, but some people are keeping a closer eye on how much pressure is put on the world's best athletes. Gary Baumgarten explains the steps health experts and event organizers are taking to prepare the competitors.
As the Summer Olympics arrive in Paris next month, organizers are adding new accommodations for athletes to rest more than just their bodies.
They're also providing for the first time accreditation to essentially mental health professionals. And I think there's 70-ish countries around the world that are taking advantage of that separate accreditation to provide additional mental health support services to their athletes.
The Olympians will also have access to quiet spaces next to workout areas where they can decompress. Dr. Sky Arthur Banning, who studies mental health in the amateur sports environment at Clemson University, says since the 2020 Olympics, when U.S. gymnast Simone Biles left the games because of stress, focusing on athletes' mental well-being has become a higher priority while they are still competing.
We had seen athletes either upon retirement or after the events coming out and talking about their challenges. I think Simone and a few others were really the first during competition to say, I need to step away.
Arthur Banning says for many athletes, the end of the games is often the toughest on their mental health.
We do have lots of research that supports this sort of post-Olympic blues or post-Olympic depression. And for many of athletes, it is retirement. And so thinking about the elements that sport does provide and how do we transition them into retirement.
One way athletes are able to improve their mental health is through building a community of support with family members and teammates.
I got more confidence because I trust others around me, because my teammates are going to be supportive of me regardless of my performance, that kind of thing.
And that was Gary Baumgarten reporting. The International Olympic Committee has also launched a mindfulness program providing 2,000 licenses to athletes for the Calm app as a day-to-day attempt to support mental health and well-being. And WRAL's coverage of the Summer Olympics begins July 26th. We'll have all of the action, including reports from WRAL's Liz McLaughlin.
If you wish your kids would just cut down on all that screen time, you are not alone. Why experts say it all starts with you.
And sewing for a good cause, how two teenagers from New Jersey are bringing joy to child cancer patients around the world. And for news, traffic, and weather of the day, make sure to download the WRAL News app.
The state Senate will vote today on 3 veto overrides. They're expected to pass along party lines. One bill would ban the wearing of cloth masks in public places though surgical or medical masks would still be allowed. Another rolls back some recent reforms in the juvenile justice system. The third allows owners of billboards along highways to cut down more trees in front of them. The House overrode all 3 vetoes last night. When the Senate follows suit, those bills will become law over the governor's objections. If you want your children to cut down on screen time, you might have to do the same thing. A new study shows parents' screen use is associated with increased adolescent screen time, along with problematic social media, video game, and mobile phone use. The lead author of the study says when a child sees a parent using a screen, they are likely to mimic the behavior.
2 sisters in New Jersey are bringing a lot of joy to child cancer patients around the world. Juliana and Audrey Adema run a sewing operation out of their basement. This is them. They were inspired to create colorful custom gowns for child cancer patients after their baby cousin was diagnosed with brain cancer. Since then, they've donated 1,800 gowns in 36 states and Uganda. The girls receive monetary donations and materials to bring their designs to life.
I noticed that the hospital gowns she received were boring, dull colors, and it was like boring patterns, and it wasn't really nice. So my family had purchased her a hospital gown with like fun prints, like it had Disney on it.
Oh, that is so sweet. As for their cousin, she's doing well. The patients received the gowns free of charge.
This season, North Carolina sees an increase in snake bites, and we are already seeing a higher number of reports than we did this time last year. We'll explain what's behind that. Plus,
all I could think is do not fall, do not fall, do not fall. You will be eaten.
A North Carolina woman recounts her near-death experience with bears in her backyard.
Happening now in the WRAL Lives, and we continue to follow this breaking news off the Beltline. A crash shutting down at least one lane of traffic in these westbound lanes near I-440 and Lake Boone Trail. It's causing a significant backup in that area. If you're coming in from Johnston County, I would recommend using the south side of the Beltline. Depending on where you are, if you want to head west, I would take Highway 70 to avoid this slowdown that we're seeing on this northern side of the Beltline.
Redness, swelling, and bruising. That's what it looks like after you're bitten by a snake. New numbers from North Carolina Poison Control show more people are being bitten by snakes across the state than ever before. 257 venomous snake bites have been reported so far this year. That surpasses the previous record set in 2020. The copperhead is the most abundant of the 6 venomous species in North Carolina. Experts say the weather conditions we've been facing recently are bringing more snakes out and into places that put them into closer contact with people.
What we're seeing primarily in the snake bites, snakes are going to where their food and where their water sources are. And here, with the amount of rainfall that we've had, or lack thereof here within the last several months, they are now moving to places where they can find food and water.
This month, 15 people received treatment for snake bites at Duke Hospital. 9 were treated at Wake Med. 6 of those people needed antivenom. Experts say there's no need to be afraid, but do be cautious.
Disbelief. That's the best way an Asheville woman can describe her emotions after a black bear charged at her and her service dog right in her backyard. Justin Berger spoke with a veteran about Monday's near-death encounter.
This is just minutes before Audrey Thompson and her golden retriever, Amazing Grace, got the scare of a lifetime.
Initially, they came over here.
Video on her security camera she would have seen if she looked.
I remembered when I got in, we have security cameras out back for bears you're supposed to look at before you go outside because we live on Bear Alley, literally.
Amazing Grace, or Gracie as Thompson calls her, ran down the stairs before she noticed the family of bears in her backyard.
Gracie, no, Grace, come.
Thompson grabbed Gracie and ran.
All I could think is do not fall, do not fall, do not fall. You will be eaten. Mama bear charged and hit the patio wall with such force, the entire deck shook. And it's like a 10 by 20 deck. It's huge. She was mad. She was protecting her cubs. I've been in the military, I've been in combat, but it shocked me too.
Off in the distance, the reason behind this harrowing encounter, a bird feeder with thousands of valuable calories inside.
Don't even mess with the bird feeders. It's not worth it for situations like this.
Ashley Hobbs with the North Carolina Wildlife Resource Commission says this was a perfect storm. A mama bear protecting a reliable food source as well as her 4 cubs in an encounter with a bear's mortal enemy, a dog.
Come! Grace, no, come.
It could have been worse.
Bears are fast, powerful creatures, so if it really wanted to do harm, it probably could have. Most bears just want to avoid interactions with people, avoid interactions with dogs. So they might do these sorts of displays like bluff charges, or they may slap the ground, chomp their teeth, hiss or growl, make noises to let you know, hey, you're too close.
Oh, my goodness. That was Justin Berger reporting. According to the North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission, black bears have been clocked at speeds of 35 miles per hour over short distances. Gracie wanted to play. That's not the right thing to play with, Gracie.
That was too close. Yeah, and half a dozen cubs or so with that food source there. Bad recipe. Could have easily gotten up on that deck. You know it. Kat Campbell's in the WRAL Severe Weather Center right now. So take a look at the tropics, Kat. This is the season, right? Things brewing up. It feels like midsummer here right now.
It feels like midsummer. The issue is, having tropical systems form in June is common. It's not unusual to see tropical systems form this time of year. However, having them form here in the main development region, this is what we see happen as we get into late July into August and September. In this region, we haven't had any tropical tropical systems form in the main development region yet, so the water really hasn't been turned over or cooled at all, so it's in a ripe region for development. A 70% chance that system will develop over the next week, and all of the model plots have it crossing over the Leeward Islands as we get into late Monday night, early Tuesday, and eventually approaching the Caribbean. Most of the model plots at this point through Wednesday of next week keep it just south of Haiti and the Dominican Republic, as well as Puerto Rico. We'll continue to monitor these trends for you in the coming days, but pretty good model agreement at this phase. And when you overlay them over the temperatures, the sea surface temperatures, you can see all of this warm water ripe for development.
We wrap things up with a look at a few of the headlines we're following for you today.
This afternoon, the woman accused in the murder of her 2 adopted children is due in court. Police say Avante Devon abused and starved Blake and London Devon to death. The 2 had been missing for years, but their disappearances were reported back in January. She faces charges of first-degree murder, concealment of death, and felony child abuse.
Police in Durham are investigating a stabbing at a home on North Alston Avenue. Officers responded to that scene near Holloway Street just after 2 o'clock this morning. Police say a woman was stabbed in the head there and that she has serious injuries. They do not have any information on who may have stabbed her.
The Carolina Hurricanes will stay officially in Raleigh for another 20 years. Today, the owners of PNC Arena gave final approval to a 20-year lease with the hockey team. But along with that comes the vision for a much larger entertainment district. That includes hotels, restaurants, even a sports book or music venue. Work on the project will likely start next summer.
Fantasia is being honored with her own star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. The Hollywood Chamber of Commerce announced the North Carolina singer is being honored for her music contributions in the 2025 Hall of Fame class. She joins other stars like Jane Fonda, Jessica Chastain, Fran Drescher, and Nia Long. Prince is also receiving a star posthumously. A date for her ceremony has not been set yet.
This year's Gerber baby is sure to bring some sunshine into your day. Meet Akil Sunny McLeod, Gerber's 2024 Chief Growing Officer. This adorable 1-year-old lives with his parents and big sister in Phoenix. As this year's winner, he wins a $25,000 prize, free Gerber products for up to a year, a wardrobe from Gerber, and other prizes. And of course, he'll be featured on Gerber commercials and social media channels. So congratulations to adorable Sunny.
Sunny McLeod, he should be a meteorologist.
I know.
Our pet of the day is an incredibly sweet, gentle, laid-back dog. This is Lassie, an 11-year-old spayed female, weighs 60 pounds. She's good with dogs, cats, and children, loves all people. Lassie's a bit hard of hearing, so you'll have to speak loudly. For more information, you can visit spcawake.org.
That's a cute girl. Coming up at 4, the viewing area is now considered to be in moderate drought. We'll explain what this might mean for the local water supply. I am headed home to water my lawn.
Well, we could change some of that.
Yeah.
We get a couple of raindrops
Yeah.
out there today. That's what everybody's hoping for anyway. Not going to be a drenching, but maybe something.
Something. All right, NBC News Daily is next on WRAL, your next local news update in 30 minutes.
You can always get breaking news updates anytime with our WRAL News app. Have a great day.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.